Hi, good evening, everybody. It's so nice to see all of the names that are there. My name is Lisa Bleich, and I am the CEO of College Bound Mentor. And we always love doing this presentation to the Westfield High School for the GT Committee. So we're very grateful to have this opportunity. Today, we're going to be talking about making the most of summers. Just to give you a little bit of background about myself, I moved to Westfield in 2004. And at the time, I had three children that were in elementary school. I had previously been a visiting assistant marketing professor at Whittier College, which is a small liberal arts college based outside of Los Angeles. And so I was developing, or I did develop all the curriculum for the marketing department. I actually was the marketing department. I helped students get into graduate school. I helped them do their internships. And so when we moved to from Los Angeles to Westfield, with three small children, I was surprised by how stressed everybody was about the college application process. So I thought I could take that experience that I had, in addition to working as a director of recruiting for Ticketmaster Online City Search and marketing strategy consultant, to lend some strategy to the college admissions process. And so I began that in 2005, and I've been doing it ever since. And it's been a great experience and building the business. And Stephanie joined us 3 years ago. So I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Thanks, Lisa. Hi, my name is Stephanie Foreman. I am very lucky and feel very fortunate to be part of College Bound Mentor. I grew up in Westfield and never thought I'd be back, but I'm very, very, very happy I am with my own family and to be part of this community in a very different light. So it's been wonderful. I had a short stint in the corporate world, and then I was an English teacher for over a decade, taught everything from 6 through 12. I was a varsity tennis coach, among other fun responsibilities. And most recently, I was at a private school in New York City, so totally ensconced in college culture and college fodder. I did a lot of tutoring on the side, which turned into a lot of tutoring and helping students with college essays. So in a lot of ways, it's been a really fun and natural transition into college consulting. So just a little bit about me.
Okay, terrific. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the presentation. So I'm going to share my screen with everyone, and we'll go from there. And let me just start the presentation. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about making the most of your summer, and that's us. And so first of all, just to give a sense of like what's changed. So what we want to cover today is things have changed. You know, when a lot of parents were applying to college, the rule of thumb was to be a well-rounded student, and that's really moved to an angular student. And we'll talk a little bit about what that means, because that's even changed in the last few years. What we want to help understand today is how students can figure out your strengths and your interests, and really use the summer as a way to explore those areas deeper. And then finally, we're going to show you some case studies to show you how you can effectively integrate your summer experiences into your application. All right, so let's move on to here. This is the college application wheel. So if anyone has seen any of our presentations, we always start with this framework because it's a really good way to understand what colleges are looking for when they try to create a community of learners. And that's really what colleges, if any's been on any college presentation, they will talk about that. So of course, the first piece of that is the academics and test scores. And so academics is increasingly playing a larger role than even test scores, because test scores have become less significant, predominantly since COVID, because so many schools have gone to test optional and so many schools are staying that way. So academics are really the courses that you take, the rigor, how well you're doing in that, and then how well you are doing compared to other students in your high school. And so that's what the academics are when they're looking at that. They want to answer the question, can you be successful academically? So once they've made the decision that a student can be successful academically, one last thing just about test scores is, because they're less significant, look at them as a way to enhance your application rather than hurt your application. So if a student doesn't have the test scores that are as strong as their academic profile, then a lot of schools are test optional, and we have some examples of students who apply test optional. So once they've made the decision that yes, this student is admissible, will be able to do these successful, then they're going to look around the wheel and they're going to try to understand how you're going to contribute to the overall community. And that's really where the summer piece is going to come in. Summer is an extracurricular activity, whatever you do during the summer, unless you're going to summer school. And so that's whatever you're doing outside of school. So are you developing leadership? Are you developing and going deeper in an intellectual curiosity? Are you preparing more to be a recruited athlete where you're going to bring that to the school? Are you going to go deeper in a special talent, which would be music or dance or theater or computer programming or foreign language? Those are all special talents that you could bring to the school. Are you using that to make money? Are you a low-income student, or are you a full-pay student? So those are the ways they look at those particular areas. And then the last piece is other. And so the other is whether you are an underrepresented minority. Are you a student who's going to the same school or applying to the same school your parent went? So you have legacy. And in some instances, if a sibling has gone there as well. Are you someone who is applying to a major that is less represented by your gender or by your geography? So for example, a boy that's going into nursing. It used to be a girl in computer science, but now, even though there is still a skew in that, there's many more young women that are going into computer science. And then finally, it's character. And those are some things that you can develop over the summer time. So the way to think about, first, I always use this for just regular extracurricular activities, but particularly for the summer. When you're thinking about what should I do? What would make sense? We always tell students to really think about what are the things that you enjoy, and then what are the things that you can provide value to others or provide value to you. So there might be something that you don't particularly enjoy, but it's something that is creating a lot of value. So that's something that's worthwhile to do. But certainly in the summer, you want to be doing things that are in the top, or either the top left or right quadrant, but preferably the top right quadrant, because that's the time in the summer when you have a lot of extra time where you can put a lot of effort into doing something that you really enjoy or something that provides value to yourself or others. All right, so Stephanie is going to bring us through how that fits into the summer for the areas of the wheel.
So ultimately, right, all students, they can use their summer experience to strengthen any area of the wheel. So many different examples that we'll go over. You can pursue an existing intellectual interest. You can explore something new, a special talent that you have, whether it's painting or dance. And you can cultivate that, or an athletic ability. If you're a tennis player, if you're a baseball player, you can work on that. You're a swimmer, you can improve times. You can expand your role in the community service or other leadership opportunities. It's also a great time to bolster academics test scores. So you can, let's say you want to be in a more advanced math course next year. You can take something over the summer that you have that opportunity to do so. You can totally dedicate your summer to ACT or SAT prep. If there's an area that you're really struggling with, maybe you spend some time, studying and reading some books and use a different lens to explore a subject that you might have felt that was too challenging for you. Earn money, get a job that you love, and just reconnect with friends, re-energize, do the things that you love.
Right. The key is to do the things that you love and find where you want to make that difference.
So one way you can pursue your intellectual interest. So here, right, you can dive deeper into a passion of yours, something you really enjoy, a curiosity, or you can explore something new. I'm not going to go over all of these. You can read through what we have here, but there's many academic opportunities, STEM opportunities, focused summer programs. And some of these are really structured. You apply, and once you apply, you get in, you have a set schedule, you kind of know what you're going to do. Or we have something like summer science research at multiple universities. So some of our students are really proactive and find their own opportunities if they don't see something that they really want to pursue. So for example, I had a student last year who was really interested in Alzheimer's. A family member suffered, and this is what he wants to focus in college. And so he reached out. He had no connections. He just reached out to many professors in the tri-state area, and one of them was really excited to work with him on something. And so he went to Penn for 5 days and he worked with this professor on this specific curiosity and had this really wonderful experience. So we also encourage students, if there's something that doesn't really fit their interest, to be proactive and advocate, and they can find something that's for them.
And we also will be providing a list of different experiences or different opportunities. We'll put that in the chat with a list of different programs.
What else can you do? You can test drive potential majors. So subjects that you think you want to pursue when you get to college. So again, few different areas here. We have business, pre-med, engineering, design, and architecture. For example, BOSS at Penn State. So this is something that is very specific to the business school. SMEAL at Penn State, very 2 weeks intensive, all business focused. Or I had a student, it was really hard in COVID to shadow a physician, right? Because there's a lot more red tape than there was, but the student was persistent. And even though they couldn't shadow a specific physician, they knew they wanted to be a pediatrician. So instead they found a volunteer opportunity at Children's Specialized right here in Mountainside. So again, tons of opportunities and to move forward if you want to test out some things that you think you're going to study in college.
And some of them are very expensive and require an application, and some of them are free. Like the Coursera classes, you can take classes on free. So there's different varying levels of commitment, both financial and otherwise.
Another thing you can do, cultivate your special talents. So here you'll learn from professional experts and make connections in your field. So music, theater, art, film, athletics. And for example, if you are looking to pursue a BFA and you do a musical theater program or a dance program at a certain college, the professors that you're working with, they might be the ones who end up reading your application. So there's a lot of opportunities to network and make connections at these specific programs over the summer.
Right. Particularly for the talent-based ones, they would be reviewing your portfolio, or they might be the ones that are looking at your audition if you're doing a BFA program. So those are the one instance where you can actually have an advantage for doing that.
Okay, so Lisa will talk.
There are many
campus program.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there's many benefits to living on campus. Sorry there, somebody. So some of the ways that you can, some of the benefits are that it can demystify the academic and residential university experience. For some kids, if they don't go to sleepaway camp, this might be the first time that you're actually on a college campus. You could see what you like about it. You can learn how to manage your time, which is every freshman, we always write to them and ask them, what are some lessons that you learned? And that's always a big one, is how do I manage my time? I have so much free time. So the summer could be a way to test that out. You'll have the opportunity to live with other students in a dorm typically. And a lot of times there's students from all over the world that come to summer programs. So you get the benefit of being able to meet and interact with a lot of different students. You could study a specific field that you're interested in. You get the multicultural experience. And then for certain instances, if a school does care about demonstrated interest, you will have the benefit of being at the school, really understanding what it's all about. So when you're talking about why you're interested in the school, in the Why College essay, you can bring some of that into your essay. So that always makes it a little bit easier to do. So let's talk about, the programs. And not all programs are equal. And I think it's important for you to understand that, so that if something is a pay to play and what that gets you versus something that is actually seen as selective. And there are different reasons why you would do each of those programs, but just to understand what the differences are. So the most selective programs, they require a separate application. They are typically taught by and staffed by college faculty, or so people that are directly part of the faculty, college professors or adjuncts. They're often, but not always, feeders to some of the top schools. So for example, leadership in the business world at Penn used to be a very strong connection. If you did that program, you had a pretty good chance of getting into Wharton. They expanded that program, and now there's probably 10 different versions of the business programs at Penn. So not all of them are as competitive, but leadership in the business world was kind of their first one, the first program that they had, and it's very competitive. Global Scholars at Yale. For film programs, what we've seen is what Stephanie was talking about earlier. Those do require some sort of portfolio, and we have seen students. I had a student, for example, who did the program at USC. He did a film program. His grades were not as strong as what a typical USC graduate accepted student would have, but because he had done the film program and the professor that was reviewing his portfolio knew him, he actually got into USC, and it was really because he did a summer program. Another one that's really important, particularly in New Jersey, is the Governor's School. That's probably one of the most selective program, and it's free. It's in New Jersey. You have to be nominated for it by your guidance counselor or usually the STEM teacher. There's 3 different versions of it. There's an engineering one, there's a science one, and then there's one that's more interdisciplinary and more on the social science side. The next level would be, it requires a separate application and it's moderately success. So these will give you a good sense of what college life is like. It will also give you a sense of the field. It really will help with the writing of the why academic interest essay, particularly if it's academically focused. While it may not help gain admission, the experience that you take away from it, and then what you do with that experience and how it informs the way you think about your interests or about what you want to study, that's super important. So that's what the benefit is of those programs. And then there's other programs which are not particularly select. They're often rented space by particular organizations that use the college facilities. So you'll still get the benefits of living on a college campus, and you still will get that experience, and you can still use it to write about the things that you're interested in, but they're definitely more of a pay to play. It doesn't mean that they're not beneficial, that you won't take away something from it, but it's just not going to be seen in the same way as some of the more competitive programs. Okay, the other area or tranche of summer programs is experiential learning. And a lot of students learn really well through experiential learning. And so this is a great opportunity to get a different type of education. And in fact, some colleges even ask a question like, describe a situation where you learn something outside of the classroom. So these would be cultural immersion programs. Students can go to any country. Some of them you can also go to, like Middlebury domestically, or the Concordia language villages, and really get immersed in a language. If you go to another country, typically if you can do a homestay, that's always a great experience, because then you're really going to get very deep in the learning of the language and the culture. Teen tours, those are great ways for kids to connect with other teens and see other parts of the world. And those are also really, kids have a good time, and that's important also in the summer to do something to just have fun and relax. If your students like to do, or if you like to do outdoor stuff, you like to challenge yourself by hiking, by doing portages, doing long bike rides, things like that. There's a lot of programs for wilderness and adventure, and those things can be very challenging, but they also build teamwork and they also build grit. And so those are 2 great characteristics that are important. And then finally, community service. There's lots of opportunities. There's a lot of programs that you can pay for. Those are often seen not as favorably as perhaps just volunteering locally. So I had a student, this was I think 2 years ago during COVID, where she was supposed to go on a mission trip and wasn't able to do it. And so instead volunteered at a food bank locally and did that pretty much every day during the summer. And it was a great experience for her. She made a difference in the local community. And she also really learned about food insecurity and about just getting outside of her world and seeing a completely different side of things. So that was a great experience for her. Stephanie.
All right. So it's so important, though, for you to carefully evaluate a program before you commit. This is right? This could be a financial investment. This is an investment of your time, of your energy. So we really encourage you to tour and visit if you can, right? You can be spending 8 weeks at this program or in this foreign place. Talk with students and parents who have done the program. Ask them about their experience. Ask them the questions that you want to know. And if you don't know a student or parent who has done the specific program, reach out to the program. They're going to connect you with people. So don't be shy in that regard. Attend a fair face-to-face interactions with programs. And again, we really encourage you to ask questions, do your due diligence. Most of our students are really happy with their summer program selections. And the ones who aren't are in the minority, but it's usually because they didn't do the proper research and speak to people and learn about their experiences.
Okay. And we just put some questions down here that could be good. If you're doing a program, you should always good to talk to the former participants or find out the background of the instructors and the makeup of who's there. So that can also sometimes sway a student one way or the other.
So a job can be just as valuable or more so than programs or travel. So when you're going through the college application process, colleges are throwing out these words that mean more to what they want to see in their communities more than ever. So words like grit and strong character and resilience, work ethic, a lot of these words that we listed here. And how can you demonstrate this? Through a job. So all of these jobs, all work has value. They all demonstrates these characteristics that these schools are really looking for. So if possible, really explore your career interests. But let's say you are working at a local restaurant in Westfield, you're a server or you're a busboy or you're a host or hostess. And you're like, oh, how does that really connect? Let's say you want to be in the business world, you want to attend a business school. Well, you can do that. And even though that's the majority of your time at the restaurant, maybe reach out to your boss and say, you know what, I have this really great business idea, or I'm really good at social media or Instagram or TikTok or whatever students are on these days. And I have some ideas to build our engagement with the social media world. So again, jobs are wonderful, and there's also ways to incorporate what you want to study in them, even if it might not be so obvious in the beginning.
So as far as the benefits, some are less tangible, but they're still valuable. And so these are things that will come out as you write about these experiences of personal growth, self-awareness, social growth, exposure to new things, just the ability to recharge and re-energize. All of these things are kind of the little pieces that go together and then trickle down, and they often create really wonderful stories. And stories create really great college essays and interviews. So all of the summer experiences, we encourage you to do them because, again, there's something you enjoy or something that is providing you or other people value. But ultimately, they also are going to create these stories for college essays and interviews, which is always important to have. The key that we want you to walk away with is to do something. You don't have to do a program, but if that's something that is interesting to you, then you should do a program. Service at home can be just as important as going away, but if you want to go away, you can go away. Just use your time in a productive way and take advantage of the few opportunities of extended time where you can accomplish something or explore what you love. And it really can make a difference in terms of having good stories for writing essays.